Hey everyone, so I wanted to do another Q&A video, and so I asked for questions the other day on YouTube here, and you guys definitely responded. So first of all, thank you so much for all the questions. The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 3 is going to be premiering in, like, what is that now? Like 12 days or something like that? I don't know if my math is right on that, but it's very soon. The Walking Dead is here, and also Coldwater is going to be premiering on September 14th. We actually have a trailer for that, so I'll do a breakdown of that likely tomorrow, but yeah, stay tuned for that. But yeah, definitely make sure to be a subscriber if you want all of my content. Q&A, will the CRM be back in a hypothetical crossover? In my opinion, the CRM hasn't been completely defeated yet. The character of Elizabeth, the former general, the son of General Beale, so Mason Beale, is still there. I think that that is something that needs to be told at some point. I do kind of agree with that, I guess, because like the CRM, yes, in some sense, I guess they're not technically defeated, because if you're looking at the military part of it anyways, and some people that might want to take over the military, Elizabeth Kublik obviously could be a part of that, and also Mason Beale, you know, if he wants revenge or something like that. I just don't know if they're gonna go down that route, because to do all of that story there is just kind of a lot. And I think that's also my issue with The Walking Dead, is like, there's a lot of really cool story stuff that you can do there. Those are characters that people want to see more of, and I think that those are the type of stories that we should be getting here. Like, that is the main, like, Walking Dead storyline, right? But for some reason, we're getting everything that we're getting in Dead City, and then, you know, everything happening in France and Spain. Like, I think when they all reunite, it should definitely, I think, play a role in that story. I don't know, because I feel like they're just going to leave Elizabeth Kublik just out there. Like, she's there, and, well, maybe actually she's allowed out after, you know, what happened to Beale. But again, we don't have that confirmation. Mason Beale, like, what's he doing, right? Like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot more that you're able to do there. And I hope that we do see that at some point. Q&A, I want to know how you feel about the whole Variant Walker thing kind of being forgotten, as season 11 of The Walking Dead showed climbing walkers to never be brought up again. The post-credit scene of World Beyond showing a running zombie only for it to be a serum was super upsetting, as I thought Variant Walkers would have brought something back the show was missing, making walkers scary again, or at least more of a challenge. I think, yes, I totally agree with that. I personally think that the Variant Walker in the post-credit scene of World Beyond Season 2 isn't the same one that we saw in The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon, because I think the character that died in the post-credit scene was killed and then basically came back as a zombie, but was very, very aggressive, right? So there was no, like, serum or anything like that, unless she took it beforehand, but I really don't think so. So that, to me, is something different right there. I think that there is a difference there, or Scott Gimple just messed up there and, you know, came up with something else for the whole thing. But I personally think that they are different, just because it doesn't really otherwise make a lot of sense. I think at this point, you have to say that they're different, or it's just a scene that literally is just never, ever going to make any sense at all. So I think the Variant Walker stuff, I do agree. I'm definitely, I guess, disappointed that it never really went anywhere. And I hope that we get a lot more of that in the future. It's just, I don't know, it's all, you know, what Gimple is planning. Like, I really feel like they don't necessarily know what they're doing with some stuff with The Walking Dead, because I feel like they're very like, okay, well, we're going to make it very, like, grounded and like a simple story, but a lot of people don't like that. Like, people like what they were doing towards the end of The Walking Dead, like during the Whisperer arc and the build to The Ones Who Live, you know, all of this stuff with, like, even when Daryl was going to France, like, it was so exciting to think of, like, what could this mean for that? How was everything connected? It felt like there was, like, this bigger storyline they were building to. And now it just feels like they're going season by season and they're just telling the story. It's a smaller story. Nothing's connected. You know, I think there is some excitement now, because they're building likely to a reunion. So eventually, when that actually does happen, there will be an overall story there built up. But I think the Variant Walker thing definitely, you know, at least for me personally, was, I mean, I would say overall disappointing. I think the excitement there in The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon Season 1 was amazing, but I think just, I don't know, how they handle it in Season 2, it went away. It wasn't even a big part of the story. It's almost like Gimple got scared of, like, telling that story a little bit. Like, oh, okay, I don't want to make this too big of a thing. You know, like, I don't know. Q&A, what loose ends bug you the most? Mine would probably be Heath and Althea. And do you think Morgan's story will be just another loose end? I don't think Althea's story was necessarily a loose end, because she just went out there and sort of had an ending, right? Like they just went to go like live a happy life kind of thing. So in a sense, that's kind of an ending. Like we don't know what happened, but it's the same thing as like Madison and Alicia, because like they went, I guess to Los Angeles, I believe. We saw Strand just kind of go wherever. Who knows where those characters are right now? But that was just sort of the way they ended those stories, was like they just went out there. And obviously we could see them back at some point in the future, but I would say that it's probably not a loose end. But in terms of Heath's storyline, I think as of right now, I'm like, Morgan obviously would be a much bigger loose end. Like if that is the end of Morgan's story right there, and Morgan and Rick never have a scene together again, that's just like what Morgan's story is going to end with him going out to find Rick, and like everyone's already reunited with him. We don't get to see that ever. So that would be definitely very frustrating. I think with Heath, I honestly am just so like, I don't know. I just don't like that storyline anymore, because I mean, it's just been a thing since season 7, right? That we've always talked about, like, where's Heath? Where's Heath? And I think obviously now we know, like they confirmed that the CRM took him and he was likely an experiment for the CRM and stuff. I would just have liked a, confirmation on that. I know that Angela Kang, I believe, or maybe it was Gimple, I don't know who it was, but somebody confirmed that, but it wasn't a storyline, like a confirmation on the show. Like it should have been something that was mentioned or brought up, but it's like random things like that that just sort of go nowhere, that I think is very frustrating. I would say, just literally have a scene. Like there could have literally been a scene in The Ones Who Live, or even in World Beyond, where there was like an experiment or a test subject and the name on there is Heath, or it's a walker that looks like Heath kind of thing, right? Just to sort of confirm that and be like, oh wow, so that's what happened. That's how you build up the world here, right? Like I feel like those are the things that really matter. Like that is paying off a lot of storylines there, right? So Morgan's story, yeah, I definitely am, I guess, concerned about that as well. I hope that it isn't a loose end. I think I would be really, really, honestly, it'd be one of those things where if I look back at the whole series and like that was Morgan's last scene, I would be like, I don't know, just disappointed with the character, because he was really honestly doing amazing on The Walking Dead, and then he went to Fear the Walking Dead, and there were some really cool moments, but overall, I'm just not a fan of what they did with the character. And like, just for the future, it would be nice to actually have him and Rick in a scene together to sort of close all that out and end their stories in a strong way. It's just, yeah, if they don't ever do that, then yeah, definitely I would be really frustrated with that. Q&A, do you think Padre could have been a good villain if they had made them be remnants of the former US government who emerged from bunkers, turned bad, or had ties to CRM? Honestly, I kind of forgot about the whole Padre thing. I do remember actually, yeah, a lot of us were wondering if it was like the former government and a lot of the stuff that was sort of connected with the CRM and everything. And like what it ended up being was definitely something that I just don't understand. And I think that's my frustration with how Scott Gimple, I think, is connecting everything here, is like, I don't think he's connecting everything in a great way. Obviously, not every theory or every idea is going to be right. So I do know that. But certain things like that just don't make a lot of sense, and it just goes nowhere. Like, Padre was just what? Like, literally, it was just the dad or whatever that was a part of something. I don't remember exactly the whole storyline, but it wasn't what they were building up. Like, that's proof right there. Like, season 6 was so exciting because of the whole nuclear storyline, right? And like building to a moment like that. Teddy was absolutely insane as a villain. Like, that was an amazingly well-written season. The story was so exciting, and that shows that that's the stuff that people want here. And then they just go somewhere else with it out of nowhere, and it makes no sense at all. Like, I just don't understand the decisions made really with some of the story here. But yeah, I guess I do agree. I think the Padre storyline overall would have been better. Q&A, do you feel like the spinoffs have been kind of a letdown, or maybe not done as much as they should? Still not over how many shows led up to the CRM for it to be handled so quickly. I think a lot of people aren't over that. Like, I see that comment quite a bit where it's just the frustrations with how that all went down. I'm okay with it if Rick and Michonne do return and they reunite in a different way. Like, honestly, I am okay with that aspect to it. I would have preferred more of it for sure, but if they're still coming back to tell more stories and stuff, then I'm okay with it, because they could totally go in a different direction, and I think they could do, a lot with that. I just, in terms of the spinoffs being a letdown, I don't necessarily think of it as a letdown, because if you're just looking at the stories that they're telling, they are really great, like, character stuff, right? And I think I appreciate that for the characters, but what I don't really like, I guess, is how things feel really small. I think that should definitely be very different. Like, it should definitely feel more like, bigger stories, I guess, but like in spinoffs with these characters. instead everything feels like a bottle episode almost, right? I don't want to say it's necessarily that because there are bigger worlds and the budget's really huge and everything, but it does feel more like a bottle episode, right? I would say, and I think that's why people have a hard time watching the spinoffs. And I think, like, it's kind of insane, but like the reaction to The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon season 4 being the last season was everyone was so excited because that means everyone can come back together. And you know what I mean? Like, it really just, like, I don't know, the excitement was there, and I haven't seen that excitement since like before The Ones Who Live. So there's a difference here. I think that, you know, it was a nice quiet time for The Walking Dead, and it'll still be like that over the next like year, I would say, but things will start to pick up afterwards, and we'll see what they have planned, but it does seem like there is something else that is planned as of right now, but we'll have to wait and see what that is. Anyways, I'm gonna leave it here. So yeah, first of all, thank you so much for posting all of your questions. I will do more Q&As and stuff like that on the channel. I will ask for more questions there as well. And yeah, so anyways, I'm gonna leave it here. Definitely post our thoughts down below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.